In this video, we are going to discuss about Ethernet cables like straight cable, cross cable, and where do you use which type of cable. Hi, my name is Sudhanshu and I'm a CCI voice certified trainer here at I-MEDITA. So let's discuss what is straight cable and what is cross cable and when do you use what. And before we jump into that, let's just discuss the fundamentals of a communication. Okay, so when you talk about the fundamentals of communication, okay, basically if device A needs to communicate with device B, basically the transmit of A should come in front of the receive of B, okay, and the transmit of B should come in front of the receive of A, okay. Then only the communication is possible. Okay. Now this is a very key concept in terms of understanding the proper functioning of straight cable and cross cable and why we have this concept. Okay. And when you look at this, okay, it makes perfect sense, and this is not a very hard concept to understand. But the point is, like, you know, in our networking world, we have two types of devices. Okay. We have basically devices like switch and hub. Okay. Now these devices, switch and hub, they use pin number 1 and 2 for receive and 3 and 6 for transmit. So think about it this way. Okay, suppose I bring in a switch, okay, and I connect it to another switch using a cable. Okay, both of these switches, switch 1 and switch 2, will have or will use pin number 1 and 2 for receiving. Okay. Similarly, switch 2 will also use pin number 1 and 2 for receiving. Okay, and 3 and 6 for transmitting. So if we connect first pin directly with first pin, second pin directly with second pin, you know, like that, and connect all these cables, all these 8 cables, basically this is what a straight cable is. Okay, now you can obviously judge it that in this kind of scenario, since receive is coming in front of receive, switch 1 and switch 2 will never communicate. Okay, I hope you got this little bit of concept now. This is why we have cross cables. Okay, so if we want to connect switch to another switch, we use a cross cable. Okay, what happens in a cross cable is that the wires or copper wires on pin number 1 and 2 go to 3 and 6 on the other side. So basically we flip the wires so that transmit comes in front of receive and receive comes in front of transmit. Now because of this, the communication between the two switches can be made possible easily using a cross cable. Okay. Now there are other devices like, you know, PC, router, a firewall, and servers and many other devices. All these devices that you see, these are not like switch or hub. These transmit on 1 and 2 and receive on 3 and 6. So basically, suppose I have now to connect a PC to a switch. Since PC will use 1, 2 for transmitting and 3, 6 for receiving, you can use a straight cable, 1 going to 1, 2 going to 2, and like that for all 8 cables or all 8 wires in the twisted pair cable, and the communication will work. Why? Because the switch does not use 1, 2 for transmit, it uses 1, 2 for receiving. So even if you use a straight cable between the PC and the switch, the communication happens. So now often a times when beginner, you know, understand this or somebody tells them this concept, what happens is they start thinking that, okay, what you mean is that if we are to connect same devices, then we should use a cross cable, and if we are to connect different types of devices, then we should use a straight cable. Okay, not that. Okay, this is a very big common misconception here. Okay, let me put it this way. Suppose I have to connect a PC and a router. Okay, rarely connected directly, but suppose I have to do it. Now in this case, basically when you connect a PC to a router, if you use a straight cable, okay, these are two different devices, what will happen is the router transmits on 1 and 2 wires, and similarly PC also transmits on 1 and 2 wires, right? So definitely the communication will not happen if you use a straight cable in between, right? This is where this concept basically fails. So don't make the conclusion that same type of device you have to use cross cable and different device always straight cable. This might lead you into some thing which is not actually the way it is supposed to work. So just to reinforce the concept, like read, straight cable is used to connect those devices which have different TX and RX pins in the connector. And example, you can connect PC to switch, switch to router, router to firewall, or not router to firewall, switch to access point. And when you want to connect like in this example, okay, PC connected to switch 1 2 at TX and goes to 1 2 at RX, and 3 6, so transmit comes in front of receive and receive comes in front of transmit. Now if you look at the cross cable, it is used to connect those devices which have same TX and RX pins in the connector, like a PC to PC, router to router, firewall to firewall, or even a PC to router. Okay, so what you see here is that whatever wire is going on pin number 1, it is being flipped to 3 on the other end. Okay, and similarly for other wire. Okay, now what we do here is we don't just make up our own way of defining the cable. They have defined a standard for color coding of these cables. Now it's something like this. Okay, suppose I decide my own way of making a cable. What could be a problem is, like, suppose I do a job switch. Okay, I leave the job, somebody else comes. Just by looking at the one connector, they might get confused as in whether I've made a straight cable or a cross cable. So just to fix that, what they did was, like, they standardized the color coding scheme. They made two standards, T568A and T568B. So if you look at the T568A and T568B, the color coding here, the white green or 1 2 goes to white green, 3 6 on the other end. So if you make T568A standard on one end, and if you make T568B standard on the other end, it makes a cross cable. Similarly, if you make a T568A standard, if you follow a T568A standard on one end and you make the same standard on the other end, T568A, it becomes a straight cable. Also, if you use T568B on one end and T568B on the other end, still it is a straight cable. Okay, so that's pretty much it about straight cable, cross cable. I hope you got it. Thank you for watching.